Assalamu alaikum. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to make so much money, it is going to feel haram. Now, it might feel haram, but I promise you everything that you're going to learn in this video is 100% halal, and these are strategies that have been being implemented for thousands of years. This is nothing unique to me. These are hidden strategies that most people are not aware of, and I'm going to teach them to you in this video. Before we dive into the logistics, you need to understand this is not theory. This is a proven strategy that does work. It is the exact strategy that I am following. It's the exact strategy that allowed me to have a six-figure Sharia compliant portfolio before the age of 21. It's the exact strategy that allowed me to make $100,000 in a year at the age of 19 years old. If you're looking for some get-rich-quick thing where it's going to be super easy for you, this video is not for you. This is the most raw, authentic, become successful video as a Muslim you are ever going to find. This cannot be overstated. This is not for everybody. Only a select few people will succeed, and those are the people who implement these steps. And if you implement what I'm going to tell you, you will succeed. I'm going to break down this strategy to becoming so rich it's going to feel haram into 10 steps. And if you want to succeed and you want to be one of the people, make sure you stick to the end, because if you can't finish this video, you have no chance of succeeding. This won't be easy, this won't be fast, but I promise you it's going to work. By the end of this video, you are going to have absolutely every single thing you need to succeed. No guesswork, no hoping it works, exact, tangible things to do and implement. Let's dive in. Step number one is intention. You have to set your intention on why you want to become successful. Okay, and this is your intention, not just your goals and what you want, but your intention with Allah. This step cannot be skipped. It is so important, because if your intention is, I want a Lambo, I want to become really rich so I can have a mansion, why would Allah bless you with wealth if your intention is not pure? So you need to make sure you set your intention rooted in something that is beneficial to Allah, right? I'll give me, for example, my reason why I want to become incredibly rich. My intention is because I want to retire my parents. I want to be able to let my parents, my brother and my sister live an amazing life, because I think they did so much raising me that I owe it to them. My second reason is exactly what I'm doing right now, because I want to share the information I have, share the knowledge I have with other Muslims, because my mission is to help as many Muslims become successful in this life without compromising their deen, right? That is my intention. So before I sought out trying to become a millionaire, I had to set rooted with Allah. This is why I want to do it. And then you can't just set your intention. Then you have to ask that He puts barakah on that journey. Because without Allah's blessings, without Allah, none of this is possible, okay? So if you implement everything I'm going to tell you in steps 2 through 10, but you skip intention, this will not work. Wealth is a test. Everybody thinks when they have money, things is going to become easier, but that is not true. When you have money, Shaitan is going to try to tempt you at every possible opportunity he can. He's going to try to get you to do things that you shouldn't do because you have access to so much. He's going to try to get you to spend your money in ways that are impermissible. He's going to try to get you to hoard it and keep it to yourself. And he's going to be able to do that if you don't have a clear structure of what you want and why you want it. So this is the tangible thing that you need to do for step number one. You need to write down on a piece of paper clearly what is your intention. Why do you want to get rich, and how is it beneficial to Allah? Okay, why do you want to get rich and how is it beneficial to Allah? Write that down on a piece of paper and then put it somewhere where you are going to see it every single day. Put it on your mirror so you see it when you brush your teeth. Put it right next to your book stand so you see it when you read at night. You need to be reminded, because what's going to happen when things get hard, you need to be reminded of your intention. You need to be reminded of why you're doing this. And then when you start to succeed and you have a bunch of money, you need to be reminded of why you started, right? So if you're like, I want to do charity, I want to help people, but then you make your first $100,000 and don't donate anything to charity, you're not in alignment with your intention. And coming from someone who has been able to achieve relatively a lot of success for my age, I understand it can be hard. You get caught up, you forget about what your intention was. And that's why you need to write it down and you need to see it every single day. Step number 2 is called build your vault. You need to build a vault, a savings. Now this part is boring, you have to bear with me, okay? This is gonna be the most boring step, but it is the most crucial. Before you go on to the next steps, you need to have savings. You need to have at least $5,000 to $15,000 saved up for the rest of these steps to work. Now I don't wanna hear any excuses of where you're from or that's not possible. I'm gonna break down exactly how you can get your first $5,000 to $15,000 saved up in the bank, regardless if you're in a first world country or a third world country. If you're in a first world country like the UK, Canada, America, this is gonna become incredibly easy. easy. You need to work so much harder than you think you do. You need to get another job. You need to get 3 jobs. You need to work 100 hours a week. You need to cut your living expenses. I mean, spend absolutely nothing on except the bare necessities. And right here, this is what sounds so annoying to people. People are like, I can't do this. What do you mean? I'm supposed to have my life. But trust me, if you stick with this process, you will see why this step is needed when we get into the later steps. It's not glamorous. This isn't the lifestyle that's gonna let you flex on people on Instagram, but you have to understand this is needed and it's a crucial step. And funny enough, step number 2 is where most people fail and give up, and that's why they don't succeed. So let me give you a little bit of accountability. The reason most people stay poor their entire life is because they aren't willing to go through the 1 to 2 years of the initial grind, just the brute force to make it out. Because right now, you don't have skills, you don't have leverage, you don't have connections, you don't have anything except time. And time is the only valuable asset that you have right now. So you need to use that time. You need to sacrifice your time, then get the money to then use this money later in the next steps for leverage to get higher and better paying jobs and starting businesses. I'll tell you exactly what I did. I got a job as a bellman at a hotel pushing luggage around. This gave me a couple $1,000s a month. I did this 5 days a week. I worked 10 hours a day. Then I got a job as a carpenter on the weekends where I did carpentry 10 hours a day, 2 days a week. This allowed me to be in a position where I was making about $3,000 a month. Now I got rent, super cheap rent, where I was spending less than $1,000 a month, and I only ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and tuna. I spent so little amounts of money on anything. I did not go out to dinner. I did not hang out with my friends. I did not spend money on anything except the bare necessities. Yes, it sucked. I missed out on a bunch of opportunities. I could have done a bunch of cool stuff. I could have experienced a bunch of cool things. But me making those sacrifices allowed me to save up $18,000 in 18 months. And now I'm on track to become a millionaire before I'm 30 years old. And everybody who worked with me at that hotel is still living paycheck to paycheck. So I'm telling you, it's worth it. I'm giving you advice from exactly what I did. All of this formula that I'm breaking down for you, none of this is, I think this will work. This is exactly what I'm doing and what I did. Now, if you're from a third world country, this is going to be a little different, but arguably it's actually easier to do this step if you're from a third world country. So there's no excuses. I don't want to hear because you're from a different country that you're not able to do this, because I know people personally who have done exactly what I'm teaching right now who are from third world countries. A main reason here is because it's so cheap to live in a third world country. So getting your expenses really low is incredibly easy. Here's the tactic. If you can find ways to earn in USD or earn in pounds, and then you're spending in your local currency, you only need to make $1,000 a month, 1.5K a month. You'll be able to save at the same rate as someone in America making $5,000 a month. The way that you do this is by getting a skill. You need a skill like copywriting, video editing, DM setting, all of those things. And then doing cold outreach online to find clients in America to pay you for your service. You'll charge them in USD, but you can charge them so much less than your competition because your competition is in America. So if you're a video editor, your competition is charging $50 per video edit, but you can charge them $10 per video edit and still make a couple $1,000s a month. And they're gonna be willing to pay you as long as you're just as good because it's cheaper for them. Let's take one of my friends, for example. He has someone who lives in Pakistan who does his video editing for him. He pays the guy $1,500 every single month. For the sake of this example, let's say his name's Abdul. He gives Abdul 1.5K every single month. Abdul only has $300 every single month of expenses where he lives in Pakistan. So now, just like me, when I was earning $3,000 a month, he's able to save $1,200 every single month. That's more than I was saving when I was in America. So even though he's from a third world country, he'll be able to complete step 2 just as fast as me. But this does end up begging the question, how do you get these skills? I'm gonna make further trainings about this in the future, but right now there are dozens and dozens of free videos on YouTube that can teach you every single one of these skills. You don't need to pay for courses. You don't need to have any money. If you have no money, zero skills, you can learn this for free on YouTube. Learn the skill and then immediately start doing cold outreach, messaging people on Instagram. I do not want to hear that this doesn't work because I have had people cold outreach me, offer me their service, and I am now paying them every single month to do things for me. It's grind time. This is the hardest part. This is the hardest step, I'm telling you. But if you can make it past this step and you can get to the next steps, you will succeed. And when it gets hard, you just got to remember, imagine what it's going to feel like flying your parents out business class to take your entire family on Ummah. That, only once that happens, you're gonna realize how much it was worth it. Okay, we've gotten through the boring stuff. Let's get on to the fun stuff. Step number 3, you need to become more valuable. This is the step that's gonna give you leverage to never have to work again. So once you master step 3, you are never gonna have to worry about getting a job for the rest of your life. The people who make the most amount of money in the world are the people who are valued most by the world. That is why lawyers, doctors, and dentists make so much more money than the average Joe Schmo worker, because their job is more valued by the world. Now, what exactly do I mean by valuable? I don't mean that they are better than anybody. No. I mean that skill set, what they have, is in higher demand. There are more people that want that skill than people who have the skill. That's why high-level consultants are able to make so much money, because they solve very special problems for business owners that only a certain amount of people can solve. So business owners are willing to pay them so much money because that person is so rare. And this is the exact reason why someone working at McDonald's is only gonna make $10 an hour, because that skill set is not rare. Anybody can flip a burger and put it in a bag. What you need to do is pick a skill that is very valuable to the marketplace. Obviously, the best things that you can pick are sales, marketing, and being able to build systems. You could learn how to become a remote closer, take sales calls for a business owner and get a commission. You could learn how to run paid ads and start a marketing agency and run business owners' advertisements. You could learn Zapier and how to build systems, how to build websites, and start doing that for business owners, and that's very valuable. It will save them a lot of time, and in return, they will pay you a lot of money. So here is exactly what you need to do. You need to take a chunk of the money that you saved up in step 2 and spend it on a course, training, or mentorship that's gonna teach you the skill that you want. And you need to make sure you're gonna find something that's gonna teach you the skill in depth. You do not want anything that's surface level. You can learn all of these skills at a surface level on YouTube. When you're picking a course, program, or training, make sure you get something that's gonna give you in-depth training and hands-on support. Let's use me for an example. I chose to get into sales, and I spent $10,000 of my $18,000 buying a high-ticket remote closing program. For the next 4 following months, I did absolutely nothing except spend all of my free time learning sales and going through that program. I cannot stress this point enough. So many people are scared to invest in themselves. They don't want to spend money buying something that's going to teach them something, or spending money on a course or a program. They think there's scams out there. Do your due diligence. Obviously, make sure you don't get scammed. But I'm telling you, the highest ROI that you can spend on your money, it's not any stock out there. It is investing in your knowledge and your skill set, because that is something you retain for your entire life. I'll give you some perspective. I've spent over $100,000 in the last 2 years, not on crypto, not on stocks, not on real estate. No, buying courses, trainings, and mentorships. And that is the main reason why I've been able to have the success that I've had at such a young age, is because I've been able to learn from people who are so much farther ahead in life than me, learn all of their mistakes, and that then accelerates my growth because I don't have to make the same mistakes as them. This is why this step is so important, because without valuable skills, you are never gonna get ahead of life, and you're gonna stay paycheck to paycheck until you're 80 years old. And nobody wants that. If I put this into the simplest terms ever, more skills equals more money. Better and rare skills equals more money. Your action item for this step is pick the skill that you are going to want to learn and find the program or mentorship that you are going to take. Step number 4 is you need to get a mentor, or you need to join a network. If you want to become truly successful in life, you need to have good connections. So it doesn't matter how skilled you are. If you can't show someone that you have that skill, it's worth nothing. So what you need to now do is you need to take another chunk from what you've saved up and go ahead and buy a mentor or go into a network. For me, for example, I joined a network. I spent $5,000 of the $18,000, so now I've got $3,000 left, $10,000 on the course, $5,000 to join a network. Now what you need to do once you're in this network is you need to show you are valuable and you're eager to learn. Now, how do you show you're valuable if you don't have anything to offer? Well, here's the thing. Successful business owners, people who are prospering in life, they actually want mentees. They actually want people who are going to implement what they say. Because interesting enough, a lot of successful people, they give their advice out and people don't listen to it. They'll give their advice. They'll say, this is what you need to do to succeed, and people don't listen to it. So they feel incredibly valued when they give advice to someone and someone actually implements the advice they got. So once you're in these networks, you need to put yourself out there as the spot of being the mentee. Put yourself in a position where you're like, I want to learn. And then immediately when they give you a lesson, when someone in the network says something in the group chat, or when you're at an in-person event and someone says something, you need to show you're coachable by doing exactly what they said. So I'll give me, for example, I went to a networking event in person. One guy gave a talk on social media, how to succeed in social media. I took notes on absolutely everything that he did, and then I posted in the chat that we're all in after the event was over, hey, I took all of your advice, I did XYZ, every single thing that you taught at that event, I implemented, and these are my results. So now this guy's seen, wow, he's listening, he's valuable, because, why am I valuable? I'm showing I can learn and be mentored. What ended up happening, I'll explain in the next step, but for this step, simply put, you just need to get in the right rooms and then show you're coachable. Now the downfall here is a lot of young people specifically, we think we have an ego. You're gonna get into this room, a networking opportunity, and you're gonna try to act like you're the person or you can give advice. You need to know what role you play in a dynamic, right? So I'm going to Croatia in about a month, and I'm gonna be around a bunch of super high level guys who are more successful than me. I'm not gonna go in there and try to preach how to become successful. I'm gonna sit down in the seat of the mentee, the student, and learn from them. But don't be afraid to have a little bit of ego. You also need to have some confidence in yourself. People need to see that you're willing to call your shots, because a mentor wants to see someone who, yes, will listen to them and implement what they teach them. They also want to see someone who's willing to take life and go after it, willing to bet on themselves, willing to have the conviction to say something and make it happen. Now, once you've found this mentor, once you've found this person who you can learn from or this network, you need to now spend months depositing value into it, giving as much as you can. And how do you give as a mentor? Ask for advice, don't waste their time, take their advice, implement everything. So your action item for this step is to find a network or mentor and then dedicate the next couple months to building a good relationship with that group or with that person. Awesome, let's move on to step number 5. Step number 5 is getting in a vehicle that can earn you 6 figures a year. Now, this is where step number 4 is so crucial. How are you gonna get into a vehicle that's gonna pay you 6 figures a year? You don't have a college degree. You're mediocrely okay at a skill. Boom, you have connections and you have a skill. This is how you're going to land the opportunity. So what you're gonna do is you're going to go to the person that you have befriended, the mentor you have befriended, or the network, and you're gonna put yourself out there. Hey, I would love to help you with XYZ in your company. I don't want you to pay me. I will work 100 hours a week. I just want to contribute value to you because I'm so grateful for everything that you've taught me. I'm telling you, if you do that and you've built a good relationship with these people, you are going to land an opportunity. I'll tell you exactly what I did. So that person that I told you about who gave a talk on social media, I ended up showing them and they mentored me for a little bit. I would ask for advice. I would implement everything they'd teach me. And once again, guys, mentors love that. And then after about 3 months, I went to him and said, hey, I would love to join your sales team. I've actually been learning sales for the last 3 months. I don't want you to pay me. I'm just very grateful for what you've taught me. I want to contribute value and help you out. Most people are going to say yes to this. Now, what I've done is I've gotten my foot into a door with an already incredibly successful person. Now, there's multiple things here. Yes, it's an opportunity to learn under the mentor. Yes, it's an opportunity to build a better relationship with them, but it's also an opportunity to prove that you can be valuable to them, and successful people love valuable people, and then they might put you into another position where you can earn more money working for them. So what ended up happening is after 2 months of working for him for free, he decided to start paying me. I made $1,000 a month. I made $2,000 a month. I made $4,000 a month. Then I kept providing so much value. I was working so much harder than absolutely everybody there that he promoted me. And then he promoted me again, and then he promoted me again, because I was showing that I was coachable, that I was willing to learn, that my ego was put aside, and I was going to do absolutely everything in my power to succeed in the vehicle that he provided. I went from being appointment setter to a closer to a sales manager. And a year after providing him value, I became the CEO of that company. And it's a very simple process, but once again, you have to have the delayed gratification, right? People would rather take a job that's going to give them $60,000 right now than take a job that's going to give them $20,000 a year, but the opportunity to earn 6 figures. If you take comfort, you will not succeed. So get yourself in an opportunity with a mentor who has a vehicle that your income can be scalable. That's why the skill set is so important, because now you have the skill, you can offer the skill, and any skill like marketing, building systems, sales, it's a scalable skill where you can make more money the better you get. You'll see how all these steps are stacking. So your action item for step number 5 is to get into a position where you can work for the mentor that you have befriended in step 4. So now you're rocking and rolling. Things are starting to get good. Things are starting to get excited. Let's dive into step number 6. Step number 6 is a simple one. You need to start living off 20% of your income. So once you've completed step number 5, which might take 2 to 3 years, you are now in a position where you're earning 6 figures a year. But the biggest problem is once people start earning 6 figures, they immediately inflate their lifestyle. They buy a nice car, they get a mortgage, or they get a nicer apartment. And then what happens is, yes, they're making more money, but they don't actually have any money to save. So 20 years goes by and they're still living paycheck to paycheck, just like someone who's broke. They just have nicer things. And as we know, becoming successful is not about having nice stuff in this life, it's about having nice stuff in the hereafter. So this is extreme, and I understand it. It's like, Canyon, why would I get successful? Why would I make 6 figures a year and then save all my money? Trust me, this step is needed. You need to spend no money except bare necessities, buying tuna, buying peanut butter. I live right now, I make $250,000 a year, and I live in a tiny little flat that has like a bed and a tiny kitchen and a small desk. And it's one room, and I pay $600 a month for it. But what this allows me to do is it allows me to save 80% of my income. And if I can save 80% of my income, think about how much faster I'll be able to get ahead of someone who can only save 10% of their income. So this step is very simple, but I'm just going to reiterate, it's incredibly important. You need to, I'm telling you this, you need to cut your expenses as much as you can. You're only gonna have to do this for a couple of years, and you need to slug through it, okay? You're a Muslim. You don't need the luxuries. You don't need to buy the nice things. Your money is gonna be used for more important things. Live below your means. Make 6 figures, live off 20% of your income. And I do not want to hear that it's not possible. You can find very cheap rent and you can find very cheap food. My parents can live off that amount. So your action item for this step is you need to create a budget, and you need to map out exactly how much money you're able to spend every month and calculate how much you can save every month. Step number 7 is you need to start investing. This is once again a simple step, but it is very crucial. The 80% of your income that you're saving every single month should not sit in your bank, because if your money sits in the bank, it's actually becoming less valuable every single year. If you have $10,000 in the bank, in 10 years, that $10,000 is only going to be worth and have the purchasing power of $7,000. So if you're putting your money in your bank and slaving away and going through this whole elaborate steps that I'm giving you, you are throwing it all away and wasting everything by keeping your money in the bank. You need to get your money out of banks and get them into assets. Assets are going to get you a return on your money and help your wealth grow. Because if you're making 6 figures a year and you're investing thousands every single month, it's going to add up pretty quickly. Now imagine if you could compound on top of that and gain 8% of your wealth every single year. I've made complex breakdowns of what Sharia compliant assets are and how to invest them in other videos, so I'm not going to cover it in in-depth detail in this one. Simply, you need to buy assets like gold, the S&P 500 Sharia Index Fund, Sukuk, which is Islamic bonds, Sharia compliant real estate investment trusts, and Bitcoin. Those 5 assets, if you invest all of your money into them, is going to protect your wealth and help your wealth grow. Because what this is going to do, it's going to allow you to start earning passive income, which is going to become very crucial in the next steps. Because at this rate, you're going to be able to save $50,000 every single year. After 2 years, that's $100,000 that you could have invested. Now, if you gain 8%, that means you're going to make $8,000 every single year without working, without doing anything, okay? So I want to give one quick thing. I know we're deep into this video. Stick with me to the end. Trust me, this strategy, the difference is I'm not a guru. I'm not going to tell you this fancy business model. I'm giving you the raw advice that if you implement this head to toe, you will succeed. This is a blueprint that I promise anybody who does this will succeed, and you need to start investing into Sharia compliant assets. So your action item for this step is you need to understand exactly how much of your budget you can allocate to investing monthly, and then you need to pick the assets that you're going to invest your money into, set up a brokerage, vet that everything you're buying is Sharia compliant, and start automatic investments. Okay, on to the next step. This one is you need to cut your tax bill down to as much as you possibly can. Most countries, you can actually become a lot more tax optimized than you realize. I'm not gonna get very low. I'm gonna stay very high level with this so everybody understands, because I know taxes are very confusing. But simply put, if you make $100,000 and you pay 0 in tax, you have the same purchasing power, or you have the same amount of money as someone who makes $200,000 but pays 50% tax. It's often very overlooked, and people don't realize that they can optimize their taxes much more. A very simple one is you should run all of your income through a business if you can. And then every expense that you have that you can write off as a business expense, you should do that, because that will lower your tax bill. As well as try to set up companies in countries that have tax advantages like Gibraltar and Dubai. This is not legal advice. I am not a tax accountant, so I cannot give you specific advice here. What you need to do is you need to consult with a professional and a tax advisor in your country and set up the most efficient tax system that you can that's going to save money. Because I also have an opinion as a Muslim, especially for places like the UK and America, you should Islamically pay as little tax as you possibly can because your tax money is not being used for good causes. If my 50% tax bill was being used to make the roads better to help starving children, I would have no issue paying those taxes. But most countries, your taxes are funding wars, your taxes are funding politicians, so you have no need to be paying unnecessary tax if there are legal being the key word, legal ways to pay as little tax as possible. Your action item for this step is to talk to a tax official in your location that can help build a tax system that is customized to you to lower your tax bill as much as you possibly can. Amazing. So now you have a valuable skill, you're making money, you've got a mentor, you're in a great vehicle, you're saving, you're investing, you are on track to becoming so successful and making so much money, it's gonna feel haram. Let's get into step number 9. Step number 9 is moving somewhere where your cost of living is incredibly cheap. Okay, so if you're already in a third world country, amazing. If you're not, move out of the US, move out of the UK, move out of Canada and get somewhere where your money is worth so much more. This is called geographical arbitrage, meaning if you make $100,000 a year, that becomes 5 times more valuable if you move to somewhere like Bali, you move to somewhere like Pakistan or India. And what this is gonna do is it's going to excel the previous steps that we just went over. You're gonna be able to invest even more money and be incredibly aggressive with this. So pick wherever you wanna go, it doesn't really matter. I went to Pakistan, but you can go wherever you prefer. Just make sure that the cost of living is incredibly cheap. Now, this is where you just lock down for 5 years and invest every single month, super aggressive. You're earning 6 figures. By now, you might be earning multiple 6 figures. You might have become a co-owner, or like me, you become the CEO of the company, or you become very tight-knit with that mentor that you now go into a new opportunity, right? So you're in an amazing opportunity to earn a bunch of money. Your living expenses are super cheap and you're investing aggressively. Now, what's gonna happen is after all of this, 5 years of investing $50,000 every single month, you're gonna have $250,000 in Sharia compliant assets. Now, your cost of living where you are is probably only gonna be $10,000 a year in USD. And if you have $250,000 in Sharia compliant assets, that means you're gonna make $23,000 every single year without working. This means you'll have $10,000 to cover your expenses and $13,000 every single year to spend on whatever you want. And this is why it's so crucial to get somewhere where living expenses are incredibly low. Let's put this into perspective for you. This overall took 8 years. Now, after 8 years, you can retire. You can enjoy your life. You can not have to work again, or you can keep working in this 6-figure job that you got and keep building up your portfolio. And then 13 years after you started, you became a millionaire. You realize why I'm not trying to tell you this guru method. This is the grind. This is the hard part. Like, this is not easy. This is what I'm doing. I will be a millionaire before I'm 30 years old. I'm in steps 8, 9, and 10 right now. And I'm telling you, this method works. So your action item for step number 9 is you need to pick where you're going to live. Very simple. And step number 10, this is the short one. You have 2 options. You can either choose to keep grinding, keep working, stay in that 6-figure job, keep making more money, or you could choose 8 years into this to retire and live off now what's going to gain money every single year, $250,000 that you have that pays you $23,000 every single year without you having to work. I hope you realize how crazy that is. You are told that you need to go to university to 4 to 8 years, and then you need to work 40 years of your life for you to retire. But with this method I just told you, you can retire 8 years after watching this video. I will be retired before I'm 30 years old, and you can do the exact same thing. If you found this video valuable, I have a free guide in the link in this description that will teach you how to do Sharia compliant investing. So when you do get to that step, you'll know what to do. And I hope that it will give you some value. I appreciate you watching. I know your time is very valuable, and I hope that I delivered on your time. Assalamu alaikum. May Allah bless you. May Allah reward you, and may Allah put barakah on this journey.